welcome back to my channel. We're doing a car chat as we discuss the Real Housewives of Atlanta, episode 6 of season 13. I did actually take notes, but because I'm driving, I can't look at my notes, so great for that. So I'm gonna give it to y'all how I remember it. The best way for me to do it is to break it down by person. So let's start with Cynthia, because she did have a major chunk of this episode, should I say. And basically the main conflict with her was that she wants to invite her father to the wedding, and her mom and her father have some past history of DV. And after her mom did the PSA for Kenya Moore a few seasons ago, the relationship between her and her father became extremely strained. And so she wants to reach out to her dad for him to be at the wedding. And she wanted to discuss it with her mom. So basically that was the buildup of, it was just about figuring out who can and cannot come to the wedding. Also, Mike wants to invite Dennis to the wedding. They've apparently become really, really cool. It's kind of similar to like inviting Walter to Nene's wedding. You get what I'm saying? Like, oh, the men are really cool with him, so just because y'all aren't cool, do I have to like stop being friends with him? And Mike Hill basically said, now this was a contradiction, because when they were talking about Cynthia inviting her father, Mike was just like, well, it's your day, you should invite who you want to invite. It doesn't matter who your mom wants there. But then when they're talking about Dennis, he's like, well, ask Portia if it's okay. So that's a double standard. And at the end of the day, it's a bigger deal to invite her dad than it is to invite Dennis. Dennis does not have to be there at all. He's not in any way, shape, or form, a family member, versus Cynthia talking about inviting her dad. So later, in the episode, we end up getting a meetup with all of the Bailey family. Side note, Noelle has grown into such a beautiful young lady. She is an influencer. She's out here. She's living in LA, has her own apartment, has brand deals, has contracts. Really like essentially modeling, but modeling in the new era. And she looks amazing. She looks just like, she's a mini Cynthia. It was honestly very refreshing to see Noelle. I love her and Cynthia's relationship and how they interact. Honestly, I do. So anyway, we get to the scene where it's all of the Baileys, Mom, Mal, Cynthia, and Noelle at the house, and they're discussing the wedding. And Cynthia brings up that she wants to invite her father. And her mom basically says, well, I'm going to put a mask over my eyes if you invite him. Basically, it's saying, like, you can do what you want to do, but I'm not going to fool with them. And I'm going to say this because we've seen this play out time and time again. Even on Potomac, when it came to Candace inviting her father to her wedding, I respected how Cynthia's mom even responded, because it was like, I don't want him there. If it was up to me, no, I wouldn't want him there. But I'm going to let you do what's best for you. It's your day. I just don't have to fool with him. Versus like Candace and Dorothy over there, where Dorothy had a whole freaking fit. You get what I'm saying? So that's already lets you know that they have a good relationship. But during this conversation, we see that Cynthia's mom is actually very much so hurt. She's hurt by even the fact of her daughters having a relationship with their father. When Mal said that she still had a relationship with her father, the mom seemed legitimately shocked. Like, you still talking to him? She's also hurt that people in like the hometown that they're from in Alabama were questioning her DV story as if she was, lying, and, questioning, her motives for talking about it and things like that. And she says that she was blindsided and didn't understand what a PSA was and what she was brought there to do. Now, do I believe that she didn't understand what a PSA was and was blindsided by it? I don't believe that. What I do believe is that she might not have realized that it was going to be on the show, or she might not have realized to the like how big it was, you know, to the extent of how big it was going to be. And that was what she was kind of blindsided by. And so she's taking this time, mind you, this was recorded 3 years ago. Now she's taking this time to say that she was very much so hurt by it. I think that was kind of trying to guilt trip Cynthia, honestly, to be like, well, you know what, Mom, don't worry about it. I just want to invite him. I kind of think that's why she pulled that card out. To me, it seemed a little manipulative to speak on how you were just so hurt about this PSA that happened 3 years ago, honestly. At the end of the conversation, you know, Noelle basically sticks up for her grandmom. It's just like she asks us for nothing, you know. And one thing about it, I can say I've probably seen my granddad one time, but I can't count how many times I've seen Granny. So she's more important than he is, and you should consider her feelings. I understand completely Noelle's feelings about it. However, I think this is, at the end of the day, this is Cynthia's wedding and it's her choice. She had her dad at her last wedding. I don't understand if it was all of this, how was he able to come to the last wedding, but this wedding is such an issue? You get what I'm saying? Like, if you were at my last wedding, then sure, you can come to this wedding. I understand that the PSA may have opened up old wounds or whatever, but that's still her father. That's still her father. And I don't care what anybody says. As a little girl, if you've had your father in your life, or even if you haven't, you're getting married, you want your father there. You want your father to be present. You know, it's one of those, like, just women things, in my opinion. Y'all tell me what you think down below. But I feel like Cynthia, if that's what she wants to do, if she wants to take this time to, like, extend the olive branch to her dad, I don't see anything wrong with it. This is Cynthia's day. Everyone should be mature enough to be able to handle it. You know, Cynthia's mom even said that he left when Cynthia was 4 years old. Well, Cynthia's 54 at this point, right? So that's what, 50 years? You telling me 45, 50 years since all of this has happened, and people can't just be in their own, you know, in their own. That's like Mama Evelyn and on the Braxton Family Values. It's like, you just can't hold on to that forever. You just can't. Like, it ages you, and it decreases on you more than it does him. He probably out living his best, and you still holding on to all this hurt and pain. So that was that. Then we see Drew and Ralph are packing up their house. They didn't really have a whole lot to give us, because they were quarantining after Ralph's dad passed away, and they went to the funeral, so they came back and they quarantined. But as a little bit of a sign to show that they're kind of moving forward in their relationship, and also having closure to his dad, they did let off some balloons. Ralph said some words about, you know, how he wants his family to work and he's trying to do better. He's still who he is, but he wants to do better. It all sounds good. And that's about where it ends. It sounds good. From just a little bit that we've seen in these, 5 episodes that she's been on the show, one little scene of you talking good because your father just passed does not change my opinion on him at all. We also get a scene with Cynthia and Portia meeting up to discuss what was going on between Dennis and Portia's relationship, and if it would be okay for Cynthia to invite him to the wedding. Bottom line is no. Okay? Portia don't know what her and Dennis are doing. Portia still, 2021, does not know what her and Dennis are doing. One day they're good, the next day they're not. One week they're on, the next week they're off. But during this conversation, what I will say is, when she was discussing how it felt like she would leave from being in the battlefield out, you know, fighting for all this social justice and all this stuff, and then come home and still feel unsafe and still feel like she's fighting in her own home, baby, I'm with you on keep it pushing, let it move, get it gone, stop dealing with them. At the end of the day, your house is supposed to be your peace. Your partner is supposed to, I mean, it's not going to be perfect 100% of the time. I'm not saying that. However, if you can't even communicate effectively, if you're always snapping and all this kind of stuff, and they have tried therapy, and y'all tried to make it work, cut your losses and keep it moving. Just be good co-parents. There's no point in putting that type of dysfunction on yourself or your child. And I respected Portia saying when she said that, you know, she had to take a step back when she realized she was snapping at him and Pilar was on her hip, and she had no regard for her child even being there. That takes a lot of self-awareness to be like, you know what, I'm falling short right now, and this is what I need to do to change it. So I respect that. I guess Dennis is not going to be at the wedding. How about let Dennis come to the bachelor party, since y'all are such good friends? Come to the bachelor party. Boom. Problem solved. And then we have Candy. Basically, Candy is doing a charity event, Candy Cares, and where she's giving food to over like 500 families, which was it seemed to be a really, really nice event. All of the ladies that were able to come, except for all of the ladies were able to come except for Drew, who was quarantining, and we did not hear anything about LaToya. I didn't miss her. Didn't hear anything about LaToya, so everybody came. Also, so the first person to show up to the scene of them actually packing everything, I believe, was Tanya, and then Portia and then Tanya, one or the other. But they were the first two there. Excuse me. Came in ready to work, and then in comes Kenya ready to shade. The first thing she does is dig. Of course, Portia's on time for her photo op. Maybe she's on time for charity. Maybe she's just on time for charity. She's not on time for these self-serving parties that you throw, Kenya. But, you know, to come out here and service people and to serve people, that's something to be on time for. Why are you shading her? Kenya did nothing but shade every single person this episode, and it really aggravated me because she had no storyline of her own to contribute to, but you had all of this to say about everybody else. Kenya's miserable. Kenya's misery, it's like a big black aura around her, and it just exudes. So anyway, they're at the charity event packing things, and of course, again, Kenya and her takeover spirit. It's like, well, you do this, you do that, and how about less talking, more working? Because at the end of the day, when they were talking, Portia is talking about her relationship with Dennis. And don't get me wrong, all this back and forth with Dennis is exhausting. It's like, girl, we know what it is, you know what it is. Let's just keep it pushing. However, Kenya, don't you have a whole bunch of back and forth with your non-existent husband? So, ain't it every other week y'all getting a divorce? Y'all ain't getting a divorce. Y'all gonna work it out for baby Brooklyn. Y'all not. Honey, just admit that you just don't want to like Portia. Just admit it. Just admit that you just want to have a problem with her. Anybody who's young, hot, and popping, you can't have a relationship with them. Your insecurities are showing. Maybe you should pull it up. Maybe you should hide it, you know? But anyway, Cynthia eventually gets there. Marlo eventually gets there. And they all go to have like a little lunch break. And during the lunch break is when we get the conversation about them taking a cash trip. And they decide to take a trip to Charleston. Now, when the trip was presented, it wasn't necessarily presented as a bachelorette party, but Kenya was the one taking the head and I guess planning it for Charleston. So that means the next few episodes will be what we all know it to be. So prediction time for you guys. This is episode 6. They already said the next 3 episodes is going to be them in Charleston. So that takes us to episode 9. And they are going to run this sleeping with the stripper thing until episode 16, 17, 18. I'm going to go with 18. They're going to run it till 18. And if that is the case, I cannot guarantee that I'm going to be giving y'all these reviews every week. Me giving the reviews is my fun time. And if they stress me, like I just feel in my spirit that they going to stress me, I don't know how much. Y'all going to have to drop down. You're going to be like, girl, come on now. I need to hear your thoughts on it, okay? Because I already know they're going to do what Potomac did with this fight and drag it out. I don't want to miss my turn. Hold on. Anyway, only other things I wanted to say about this episode was Kandi talking about going after her child support from her baby's daddy to put into a trust for Riley, and Eva's husband is her lawyer. I don't see nothing wrong with it, boo. Get your money. At the end of the day, you did not make this baby by yourself. I don't care if you have $10 or $10 million. Both parents need to be contributing to it. So I don't feel in any ways bad or sad or like this is wrong. Get to it. Period. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Also, but y'all tell me if y'all think that Kandi's wrong for requesting this child support. I don't. If this money is owed, you didn't contribute to your child. If I can put it in a trust, then that's what I'm going to do. Also, I thought it looked like Cynthia had a little bit of work done. Maybe a little filler or a little Botox. Am I the only one that kind of noticed Cynthia's face this episode looked just like slightly different than usual? And I'm wondering what it was. And lastly, what do y'all think about Kenya and all of this shade that she's throwing to everybody? Do you enjoy seeing her? Because honestly, I don't enjoy watching Kenya on the TV. I really, really don't. She's a necessary evil for the show, but I don't enjoy watching her. I just don't, because it's unnecessary shade at this point. But y'all tell me what y'all think down in the description box below. Thank y'all for tuning in to this review. I know it was quick and to the point, but I want to talk to y'all down there because, honey, they ain't talking about nothing on the screen. And I'll see y'all in the next video. Peace.